They say the walls of every home have secrets. But some secrets don't stay hidden forever. Some crawl out at night and destroy everything you thought was real. The Johnsons were a respected family, wealthy, admired, and envied by many. Mr. Johnson was a man of influence, calm, confident, and powerful. His wife, Clara Johnson, was beautiful, graceful, and known for her kindness. Together, they had a daughter, little Mimi, sweet, innocent, and full of joy. From the outside, their home was perfect. But behind the high walls and polished smiles, something dark was growing. Then came Grace, the new housemaid. A quiet village girl, barely 21. Humble, polite, and desperate for work. Clara hired her after a friend's recommendation, saying, "She's young, but hardworking. You'll like her." And indeed, they did. Grace was obedient. She cleaned, cooked, and cared for little Mimi like her own sister. Mrs. Johnson trusted her completely, even leaving her alone in the house when she traveled. But what Clara didn't know was that her greatest mistake wasn't hiring Grace. It was trusting her. Because while the madam saw loyalty, the master saw beauty, and in the silence of late nights, something forbidden began to take root. At first, it was harmless glances. Then, accidental touches. Then, whispered words like poison in the dark. Until one night, everything changed. Mr. Johnson crossed a line he could never uncross. And Grace, afraid, confused, and powerless, became his secret sin. Weeks turned into months. The affair continued behind Clara's back. But secrets always leave stains. And Grace began to change, quieter, withdrawn, restless. Until one morning, she fell sick. Clara rushed her to the hospital. And that's when the truth began to unfold. Grace was pregnant. The doctor's words echoed in the air. Mrs. Johnson froze, confused and broken. But when she asked, "Who is responsible?" Grace's silence said it all. Clara sat in silence, her heart pounding. Her mind was spinning. How could this be? Her husband. The man she had trusted, loved, and built her world around. When they got home, she waited for him to return. And when he did, she looked him straight in the eyes and said quietly, "Grace is pregnant." He froze. The air between them turned heavy. And when he finally spoke, his voice trembled. What did she tell you?" Clara's eyes filled with tears. "She didn't have to tell me. I can see the truth in your eyes." The man who once stood as her protector, now stood exposed, weak, ashamed, and silent. That night, Clara wept until her voice broke. Grace locked herself in her room, trembling in fear. And little Mimi wandered the hallway, confused, asking, "Mommy, why are you crying?" Days passed, but the tension didn't fade. Mr. Johnson tried to cover the scandal, offering Grace money, begging her to disappear. But guilt is a stubborn ghost, it never leaves quietly. One night, Grace couldn't bear it anymore. She walked into Clara's room, fell to her knees, and cried, "Madam, I'm sorry. I never wanted this. I swear, I never wanted this." Clara stared at her, broken. "Then why, Grace? Why didn't you tell me?" Through sobs, Grace confessed everything. How it started, how she tried to resist. How fear and shame kept her silent. Every word felt like a knife twisting deeper. Clara didn't know whether to scream, cry, or forgive. Her husband's betrayal. Her maid's confession. Her world, shattered. When the truth finally reached the public, whispers filled the neighborhood. Friends who once admired the Johnsons now spoke in hushed tones. Clara stopped attending church. Mr. Johnson stopped sleeping at home. And Grace carried her burden in silence. 9 months later, she gave birth to a baby boy. The child was the spitting image of Mr. Johnson. A living reminder of his sin. Clara saw the baby once. She didn't say a word, just stared at him, tears falling silently. Then she walked away, leaving everything behind. The house, the marriage, the life she once knew. Grace left too. She took her child and disappeared to her village, hoping to start anew, away from shame and judgment. Years passed. One afternoon, Clara was visiting an orphanage where she now worked as a volunteer. She heard a child's laughter echo through the hall, familiar, pure, innocent. When she turned, she saw him, the boy, Grace's son. The past she had tried to forget, standing before her. And as he smiled at her, something inside her softened. Because no matter the pain, innocence should never pay for another's sin. She bent down, touched his cheek, and whispered, "May your life never carry the weight of our mistakes." And in that moment, she finally forgave. Not for them, but for herself. They say every home has secrets. But some secrets destroy, and others teach us how to rise from ruin. Grace found redemption in motherhood. Clara found peace in forgiveness. And Mr. Johnson? He lived every day haunted by the sound of his own silence. Because the truth is, no matter how deeply you bury a secret, confession will always find its way to the light.